Welcome to this edition of Pleiadian Express Productions. I'm Michelle Walling, and I'm here today with Larry Locken, of course. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Michelle, how's it going? I'm really excited about this impromptu broadcast. This is going to be fun. Thank you for recommending it.
Well, thank you, Larry, for doing this on short notice because I'm very excited today to bring Ray, who is a Vril / Pleiadian contactee. He's also a former Air Force member, and he's here to blow the whistle on many things about the government and the secrets that they are holding from us, as well as has information about what the Vril Pleiadians are here to help us with. So welcome to the show, Ray.
Hi, nice to be here.
Now, Ray's not your real name, but we're not going to get into that because there's reason behind that.
It's part of my real name, which is blown now, so it's all right. That's cool. Yeah, I'll try to say this stuff as gently as I can without, incriminating anybody.
Oh yeah, well, the truth needs to get out there, and if we hold the truth back, it holds this energy pattern around us that suppresses us.
Yep.
And we need to be clear, and we need to obviously, if you're contacted and have a message, you'll feel exhilarated by the fact that you're getting it out to the public.
Right.
So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Now, Larry, if it's
yeah,
okay
thank you,
with
Ray.
you,
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, I felt something leading up over the last few months.
yeah, well, we're
Ray,
definitely...
Ray, when you're not talking, please mute your microphone, and thank you.
Oh.
Yes, Michelle, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. We're definitely on the precipice of something major, as Larry and I have been discussing on another show that we did with Greg Prescott on Pleiadian Express Productions called The Cosmic Wildcard. And in that show, we, brought up several ideas about, what may be happening. But the truth is that, our Creator has something planned for us that, they haven't, it hasn't revealed. But there are benevolent beings working with us at this time. And as you can see in the world of extreme polarity that we live in right now, it just seems like we can't continue this path, period, and something has to happen, but we are the ones to create this change. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on today, Ray, so that you could bring forth information that will help people stand in their own power of who they are and realize that we are all extraterrestrials here having incarnation to free the planet and humanity. And I just met you today, Ray.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was fascinated when it started with the video that was an seemingly ET connected video in Fort Worth, Texas, which is my hometown. And there were a lot of, it looked like the scene from, what's the name of that movie?
The Close Encounters mothership scene. I've always loved that since I was a kid, because it struck something in me that I
the
really
lights.
Yeah.
The lights over Fort Worth, Texas. Where I could see downtown. And there's a Carswell Air Force Base right outside of downtown where that may be. I'm not sure. I haven't confirmed, but I posted it on my Facebook page today and was just wondering what it was. And so I started a dialogue, and then I came across your information. Now, you are a metal guitarist. And that drew my attention as well because my boyfriend Greg is a metal guitarist, and I was actually raised in the music industry. So I was, I was like, wow. I was like, the synchronicity was like, okay, I'm supposed to pay attention here. And
Cool.
so, yeah, so I found out that you were in the Air Force. Is that correct?
Yeah, I worked on Luke Air Force Base as a temp job for about 6 months, and I was in the fishbowl where you're supposed to report the incoming and outgoing traffic. And
Oh.
there were times I worked all night long, and apparently some of my data I put in, I was not supposed to put in, and I didn't know that until later.
So did they scrub that data from the record?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did they teach you what you were supposed to put in and what you weren't supposed to put in, and that kind of light bulb went off in your head?
Yeah, planes, helicopters, and private jets only. And that was all. I mean, I reported every light that I saw. And when the base was humming, there were nights where it was humming, and I didn't know what was going on, but I kind of knew what it was. And I put it in the data sheet, and I was told later not to do that. And then later I found out why. It was,
Right. Well,
and
now, when you say later I found out why, had you already been in contact with the extraterrestrials that we're about to talk about?
yes, since I was
Okay.
9, yes.
Okay. So, when you say later I found out why, did they pretty much tell you, hey, look, if you see, we are hiding the fact that we've had extraterrestrial contact since 1917. Did they pretty much say that, or did they just threaten you with your existence?
They didn't go into detail, and my boss that was the head over me, he didn't even bother going that far. He just said, you can't report those. Just stick to the three main aircraft that you're supposed to put in the data sheet. And I was like, okay. So I did, and at the same time, I kind of knew what I was seeing and feeling, because there's a sound frequency monitor in there too, and planes and helicopters don't give those off. So I was, you have that inner feeling like, okay, I know what this is, but I can't put it down. So um,
Right.
I was really inwardly struggling, like, you
Well,
know,
with my background of people I've interviewed, I'm just in my mind, I'm thinking, well, from your gut instinct, though, I mean, these are obviously craft that our government is in contact with, or perhaps they are government craft that they replicated. Is that pretty much what you figured out then, or did you just think that it was um, ETs and you didn't know who they
well,
were?
from what I learned, I mean, when I saw the sound frequencies on the monitor, it's almost like being in a hospital room a little. But there's windows on all sides, and you can see the incoming and outgoing air traffic. But when I saw those and I felt it, and then I saw the light rotations of red, blue, and white, it triggered something in me that I had seen at least 11 times before since I was a kid. And I kind of felt like maybe, I mean, the Air Force, our military has worked with groups since way back. I mean, a long time. And they've worked with at least 3 different alien groups. Some were benevolent and some weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vril Society, there's a lot of history about that, and it's been really misconstrued. Because these aliens, I mean, they're people just like you and me, but they have technology and they have advanced spiritual awareness. And what our military has done, it has taken that and quashed it So they can use this technology for warfare, just like they did during Hitler's Reich, and they really took advantage of the Vril Society. And so these people in this group just disappeared. I mean, they're gone because their intention was very good for the
Hey,
planet. And
hey, Donnie, I wanted to ask you a question
sure.
too, and everything like that. I know there was a situation with what they call the Foo Fighters, where the American soldiers thought it was the Germans, and the Germans thought it was us. And I was just wondering, was that a Vril-based technology, the Foo Fighters? Do you have any knowledge of that?
I remember the Foo Fighters happening during the war in that story. I think some of that was a combination of reversed engineering and uh, the aliens who had the Hanabu crafts. There's such a blend and mix of things that go on that it's really hard to pinpoint and say this was the Pleiadians or this was Alpha Centaurians, because we're working
Yeah.
with several different groups, and um, I mean, there's been interaction for a very long time on this planet.
Right. Well, I was just wondering, you know, I know we have white hats in the government. We have them in every sector that is controlling the world. Sometimes I think I came like on an undercover mission, and there's a lot of things that I do at night that I don't even not allowed to remember. But so how do you feel like that these beings are actually still that there's hope that they are actually working with our government to figure out how the government can wipe the dirt off their face from lying to the American
Mm.
public for all these years without having some kind of negative false flag alien attack? Do you think that there's something else that they're working on?
I would say, from what I really feel, the what we call the good ETs who want to help have withdrawn um, a lot of that help because our governments will just not change, and it's almost like, you know, you're trying to help a child, but that child will not change their behavior. Close to that. So all you can do is kind of back away and say, okay, these people are on their own. They have our technology and it's being used in the wrong way, like just like Tesla. And uh, you know, there comes a point of accountability. So if you're you know, if you're a good ET per se, and you see that what you have to offer is not being accepted, all you can do is kind of back away,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how
Yeah,
I feel. You know.
yeah, Donnie, you know, as a contactee myself, it's come to my attention too, and from others, that it's just like, you know, the Pleiadians trying to help, and they're good ETs, and, you know, you can only do so much to hold somebody's hand. And, you know, I think about the stories of how long it took the Arcturians to get the Pleiadians to come around and evolve, and it took, you know, millennia and millennia. So I'm just hoping that people will finally wake up and accept that help. We've got to want that help, but we've got to do like I would say 90% of the work ourselves, and, you know, make it happen. Otherwise, this lesson that we're here to learn and that we're here to help everybody with isn't valid. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, I agree.
So
Yep.
I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind. I just had a wonderful interview with Simon Parks on my show, N5D Radio's Cosmic Awakening show, and I'm just fascinated to speak to people who have full knowledge of their ancestral background as far as ET lineage goes, and not only that, but have contact with their family. Apparently, I'm one that was not supposed to know. Um, well, it's not that I wasn't supposed to know. I am actually a galactic ambassador that channels through my higher self information from many groups. They actually come in and speak, and then they leave. They're from all over the cosmos. So since I have been all over the cosmos in many lifetimes and incarnations, when I connect with my higher self, I'm able to let them come through my heart center and give the vibration or the codes that connect with many people, all the different races, all the different ET races. And so that's why I'm able to have a connection with the Pleiadians, with the Syrians, with the Lyrans, with all of them, with the Mantids, with in this case the Vril Society. So I was wondering if you could give us a little background about the Vril Society, the Pleiadian chapter or group there, because there are a lot of different Pleiadians. Some are benevolent, some are malevolent. So give us a background of the Vril.
Okay, sure. Um, well, this Vril group, it like jumped out at me online, and you know how when you hear something and you just immediately connect with it?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like even in past lives or some previous history, maybe I was part of that because my heart was really in getting this technology to help our planet, and lifetime after lifetime it was thwarted. And you get to a certain point and then it stops, and that's because the control comes in to control that technology. So what I felt was, after I researched it, is a small group of people, which is usually the only thing that ever makes a change in the world, small groups. What happened was, now this goes into the hollow earth theory and things like that with Admiral Byrd. This small group of people, it was about 5 women and 2 men, they were channeling from a place called Aldebaran, which is in Taurus constellation. It's one of the biggest suns. It has 2 planets rotating, and about 65 light years, you would say, away. Now, people can believe that, and it doesn't matter if they believe it or not, because the instructions that came with building these aircraft were very detailed. And I remember seeing them in dreams. I would have to get up in the middle of the night and write it down, because I used to draw and paint. And I kept wondering, well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to build another one in my garage? That would be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Lockheed Martin about 7 miles from my house where I was night watchman for a while.
Of course. Of course you were drawn to that.
I'm like, how did I end up here?
Where am I?
Excuse me. And I live by Mingus Mountain, which I've seen...
Of course you do.
Yeah. I've seen some aircraft that just blow my mind, along with my sister here. We both saw them, so I wasn't seeing things. And I'm telling you, this technology is amazing. And I was out here when the Phoenix Lights passed over. And I'm not sure who that was or what group that was, if it was a military hologram or what. But this Vril Society, after I've researched it, were some of the same women, and I think I mentioned this to Larry, who flew over Switzerland during the Billy Meyer case. Now, what amazed me, I caught the discrepancy, is in 1917, these women were probably in their late 20s. So they would have had to have been about 70 years old on Earth in 1975. And that would be impossible unless they were from another dimension, where we don't age. And so I kind of put it all together, and I'm like, this is the same group who wanted to bring the advanced technology in and spiritual teachings, and got thwarted even by people within FIGU, Billy Meyer's organization. Spies would come in and they would put in photos and try to discredit him. And so it's just a long string of history and information that would take a long time, but a lot of the benevolent ETs now, I think, who did come from other solar systems have withdrawn back, and we're them, and we've reincarnated here into the system to make the change instead, because that would be more acceptable. So we agreed to do that, and I think we are a part of that. And the challenge is really great. It's a mathematical equation of how do we make the world better and have sustainable energy and food without chemicals and government control. So it's really a many lifetimes effort, I think. And
Yeah, hey Ray, yeah, I would not to cut you off, but I would agree with you on that. And on a side note, you know, this number 1917 keeps coming to me, and I'm wondering if it had anything to do with, or was there any interaction as far as the Russian Revolution went. I know that in 1917, the Lenin and the Soviet Union, they took the Tsar out, so basically the Tsar's reign was over, and then the long reign of the Soviet Union started. I'm just curious if you'd ever heard anything about that, or know if that ties into that event.
yeah, it does. It's connected. The Actually, every military of every continent was contacted by this same group in different times, and since the control that we have, that each leadership has over their country, it was rejected again and again. And we heard the story of Eisenhower, who came in contact with these ETs, and
yes,
there's been a lot of deception. I mean, so much deception. We will give you this if you give us 700,000 people that we can take, and the missing persons
it's a lie upon a lie. Yeah. It's a lie upon a lie at every level, and everybody's on a need-to-know basis that's involved, and it's just such misinformation. It looks like a clusterfuck, but in reality, it's a perfectly mastered plan.
Yeah, so the job is weeding out the ones who want to deceive and the ones who... It's just like with people, at your work. It's like, who can I trust? So I think our intuition is still strong enough that we can determine that. But it's been a real challenge, I mean, I haven't seen my wife or my son since 2011, when I started seeing the same lights I saw on the Air Force Base over my backyard near the White Tank Mountains. And my entire family saw them. And shortly after that, I was called to go to Honolulu and work on a boat. And this was August 2011, and that was my last contact that I had that was actually a physical contact, where I was taken on one of the ships. And I wrote down about 800 pages of information that was in my head, because I didn't really know what else to do, and I couldn't go around telling people, I had my job taken, my wife, my son taken. I could not get hired anywhere. I would walk into a place and they would ask me to leave for no reason, and I knew something was going on. And when you have a good intention, and then there's the opposite polarity that comes in and tries to stop it. I had experienced that many times. And so now that we have internet and we can share freely, I'm really grateful that I can have a chance to say what's been going on. Because we need to have a sustainable society within the next 7 years. and we're draining the Earth of its oil and resources. And this is also part of the Vril, the concern that they have had for this planet. And it really is coming to a desperate situation. You know, we rely so much on petrol and these things that we really have to stop at some point and say, okay, if we bring in the alien technology to a responsible group of people who will use it wisely, then we will no longer need oil or gas for transportation. And that's one of the main goals. So
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I just wanted to say real quick, you mentioned intuition. And do you think, the consciousness of people is really rising, the awareness, the consciousness? And I mean, do you think that plays a big factor in this as well? And I look at it as a kind of a race against the clock. We are in a desperate situation. Humanity's consciousness is rising, but is it rising quick enough? I think that's the $64 trillion question. And I know Michelle wanted to chime in, so go ahead, Michelle. I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I'll let him. What is your take on that? I mean, how do you see? How does your star family and you, which is you, feel about? Are we, is our consciousness raising enough for that to happen in the next 7 years?
I think, as I said, with a small group of people, even like us, who our awareness is up enough to where we can see it happening. The steps to get there are the challenge because we've been so conditioned to do these certain things. And, grow up, go to school, go to church, get a job, get married, have kids. That's the program. And that program has been shattered completely in my life. And I realize now is the time for me to come forward and say, we don't have too much time, and I don't want to bring fear either, but we need to become aware that these technologies need to be implemented into our society. But that can't happen until people become fully responsible for their actions. And that will take a while. That's going to take some time,
I mean, I feel like we're just like the cusp of either failing or succeeding, both. I mean, like we're sitting on the fence right now. That's why it's so important that we come forth with this information and share it freely on the internet as much as possible. And I can't imagine having your world ripped apart like you have. And everything happens for a reason. And all you can do when something horrible like that happens to you is look at a higher perspective of it and see what has happened that will push you towards doing your mission here on the planet, because I really feel like this is our last lifetime. This is our last chance. And if we don't do it, then if we're not successful in helping humanity raise their consciousness above to be able to make fast, accelerating changes, then those of us who came here to help the planet might as well just get on our ships and go home. So hopefully you can see a higher perspective of knowing that this is just, in fact, an illusion, a holographic existence that we do live in, even though it is part of the Akashic record, and it has happened. As a matter of fact, it's already happened, and we are coming back into this from the future and trying to change the outcome and having the experience. We volunteered to do this. So I hope that helps, to always remember that even though our heart is torn apart, it is just part of the experience. And of course, on the other side, you're still connected with their souls. And this is just a blip in our existence. So I hope that helps a little bit. I wanted to talk about the technology, Ray, because the technology is here. these people are downloading, these people meaning all of the benevolent extraterrestrial civilizations are meeting up with their representatives here on the planet in their dreams at nighttime, and even in person and thought patterns, and downloading these diagrams. I'm actually in contact with another person who has all the diagrams and the capability to build a UFO spaceship, to build all of these free energy devices that you've spoken about. There's been prototypes for free energy devices that have been successfully proven. There are cars that can run on water. I mean, all this technology is here, but we are existing in a consciousness that is of the third dimensional or lower fourth dimensional vibrational frequency. So what I think is going to happen is the Earth continues to raise her vibration based on these cosmic rays that are coming into the planet to accelerate the energy fields, and we move slowly, or else it would kill us. We move into a higher vibration and consciousness to where the world, that humanity figures out how we're going to bring these to the forefront, around the government suppressive programs that are installed in people's minds right now. That's the only way I can think of to do this, is in a higher consciousness state. So what is your take on that?
I would have to agree. I don't know if Larry has anything to input on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ray, too, and going back to what you were saying about the consciousness level that it's raising, I think that the three of us, the perfect example is what you're talking about, the go to school, go to church, get a job, retire, die, get the gold watch after 50 years. In the meantime, worry about what you're going to have for lunch, what you're going to watch on TV at night, what you're going to do, and then go to bed, do the same thing, and get stuck in that programming. And I think what we're finding is that with us star seeds and the awakened people is that we're kind of walking away from that life and raising our consciousness. And Michelle hit it on the head too with the planet. The planet is just matriculating into this higher vibration, right? So it's a slow process. So maybe it's just that we're all slowly being brought along and awakening, and we're going to move into that. I always think about these things and whether we would hear disclosure on on TV, all the world leaders come out and announce it. But now I'm kind of wondering if it's not really going to happen. It's just a process of us raising the vibration and things changing here on Earth that way. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And yeah, Ray, go ahead with what you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, what Michelle was saying, I think, is pretty accurate too. We, if I could put it in words, it really is up to us, I think, and I can say that from playing music. I'm not going to have a record label that helps me anymore. When there is profit motive in something, that's okay. But something like this, it really has to be totally free. And so I had to ask myself, do I want to continue playing music? It doesn't matter if I get paid because I enjoy it. I really struggled with that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the musical notes and resonations and frequencies I became aware of really intently, and I realized even some of the metal music I was playing was not harmonious with where we should be in our DNA activation, and I had to put some of that aside and really go into some harmonic notes and resonating harmonics on my guitar, because I think that is where there might be some healing frequencies and sound therapy. I really feel that's a direction I should go in and leave behind some of this heavier vibration. I mean, that's still fun to play, but what I'm really feeling, even from what we call the Pleiadians or the Venetians, which are really deeply connected with us and our bloodline, from Atlantis and Lemuria as well. Um, they keep really telling me go into a more harmonic 432 hertz frequency instead of the heavier depressive doom metal, and I feel like I need to do that because I want to be in alignment with what I'm supposed to do. Because I feel there's not too much time left, and so the fact that I was separated from my family and my wife and my son, and I still talk with my daughters, really showed me that the energy that had taken over my wife, who's my ex-wife now, was not in my best interest to stay around. And so I had to leave, and I was with her for 22 years. And it just became more oppressive and heavier, almost as if some reptilian energy had taken her over. And I did find there was a little black chip down by her elbow that she had asked me to take out one day, and I couldn't because I was afraid I was going to hurt her if I, took a safety pin and took it out. And as weeks went by, she refused to go and get that taken. I said, you need to go to the doctor and get that taken out. And more crafts were appearing over the mountain, and I could not sleep. I couldn't eat. And suddenly I felt called to go to Honolulu. Jumped on a plane, went to Honolulu. I was supposed to go to Maui and work in a eco village because I felt led to do that. All communal living with no federal money at all. And what ended up happening is I got detoured and stuck in Honolulu, and I was working on a boat, a fishing boat. And while I was out on that boat, I had been gone during the middle of the night for about 3 or 4 hours, and they didn't know where I was. I woke up on the completely opposite side of Honolulu on a dock with somebody else's shirt on and one shoe, and I know I did not tie one on that night. I was totally sober. And
you were sitting on the dock of the bay, huh? Wishing the tide would roll you away, probably.
I sure was.
I have to say I've heard a very similar story, and I believe it was Rob Potter, who is working with the Cobra Etheric Liberation Team. Now, Rob Potter, when he was abducted as well, not abducted, that's totally the wrong word to use. When he was taken on the craft as well, and they have to wipe your memory, and you agree to have it wiped before you come back, because if you're not quite completely ready, even if you think you're ready, you're really not ready to remember what happened, because you wouldn't want to be here anymore if you knew you could be up on the ship. But what you do, or what they do with you, is you decide that you're going to dress yourself completely different, swap clothes with somebody that you're there on the ship with. So when you come back down, you will have an inkling that something really different has happened, and that's part of your awakening triggers.
Yeah, Michelle, that is exactly what happened. I could write a book about what happened because this was in, I said, August 2011. Most of it I did not remember, and as I started writing in Microsoft Word, I started remembering. Oh my gosh, there was this big blue neon light. It was over the boat around probably 3:30 in the morning, and my boss, my fishing boss on the boat was Larry, and he was down on the bottom of the boat, and I was supposed to sleep on the dock and make sure nobody came on the dock, because a lot of people scoring drugs down in that area too. So I was supposed to watch the back of the boat, and I woke up, walked. Oh my gosh, I was trying to find the boat again, and my glasses were gone. I didn't know where my glasses were, so I'm walking at 6 in the morning across Honolulu back down to the boat dock, and Larry was really mad at me. So yeah, Larry. Sorry. Yeah, his name was Larry.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
He was really
What
upset.
synchronicity? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I just didn't know what to tell him. I thought he was going to fire me. Thought I went down to Snappers and had some beers or something, but I really didn't. And he goes, "Where'd you get that shirt?" He goes, "What?" He goes, "Where'd your shoe go?" And I didn't know what to say. Uh, it was really difficult for me to stay there and work on the boat, continue working. And I was broke by that point. And so he gave me $6 to go take shuttle, go back to the airport, and I got a flight back here to Arizona. And I went directly to my parents' house because I didn't know what to do. And for some reason, my dad, he kind of knew what had happened to me because he had also had experiences growing up. And I noticed this runs in the family. Uh, I struggled really bad for the last 3 years. I wasn't sure what my place. It was like an identity crisis, and I didn't really know what had happened. But I started remembering. I remembered way back when I was 9, 11, 13, 17, 23, and this had been happening every 3 or 4 years. And each time it got more intense, and there was almost an urgency from them, I would say from them. But the idea that I got was, wow, this is me and a group of people from, I would say, 3,500 years in the future who do live in a sustainable society after socialism took over. And they're in harmony. They know how to live with themselves and the animals and the plant life. And I felt really connected to that, and that there's this urgency almost to really get things right, because I mean, it was really profound in me, in my heart, and my whole body began vibrating, and I think I had a nervous breakdown because I almost couldn't handle the energy that was coming in. And I went to the doctor. Doctor said, "Nothing wrong with you. You're fine." I found out I have O positive blood, which is very rare, but it can be used in transfusions for anyone, I think. And a couple of months after that, I decided to be a nut and go out and party one night and take my mind off of all this. And I got in a motorbike wreck. I had to get reconstructive surgery on my nose, and I needed some blood because I had lost a lot of blood, and they almost gave me the wrong blood type, and I almost died. And that was when I finally realized what blood type I had, and then I had come in contact with other people on Facebook who have the same blood type as well. And so I connected the dots.
Mm-hmm.
This DNA has been preserved for a long time by Alpha Centaurians, different other groups, because this Vril group, the Pleiadians, are us in the future. And we are taking care of things now so we can actually have that future. And that's really the main message that I've got. And it's been a nightmare to get there.
It has, and
I've lost everything that I loved, and now I'm with my immediate family I grew up with, and so I still have people that care, and I have a place to go, and I'm really thankful, because I was so close to suicide. I didn't know what to do, and but I knew I had to do something, and there was something I was supposed to do here still, and so I stayed. And it has been really difficult.
it is difficult. If it isn't stripped from you that way, the way that you had it stripped from you, it happens another way. I have completely left. I had to leave my ex-husband. I had to stop working. Had to stop putting my energy into the system. I had to stop. If you stop, the only way to stop paying taxes is to not to work. And you have to, I mean, what a leap of faith. I mean, you know, you have to get over the fear of how will I survive. And you have to know, once you realize that you came back from the future, you have to know that this is really already happened, because everything happens at the same time. And you have to reduce your fear of death and know that sometimes, you know, if I were to die, hey, I might be better off than what I am here, but I know I have to stay because I have a mission. I went through, it's been 5 years now since I had my great awakening as to, you know, I'm an extraterrestrial having this physical experience, and I wanted to die as well. And I said, if you can't help me to find my path and to find the people that I need to work with and find my soul family, then I'm done here. And everything just started falling into place. Basically, what it takes is an acknowledgement that you know that you're a not only an you know, it had extraterrestrial existence, but that we're all a spark of our Creator here having an experience, and we have several, you know, several different lifetimes, several experiences, but that we are actually here to hold the vibrations for the planet, and that's why I had to grow up backstage at several large name musicians. Like I had a very unusual childhood. I grew up backstage with Stevie Ray Vaughan and B.B. King and many Texas blues musicians. My dad put me in that environment at 6, 7, 8 years old. And back then, you could let your children just run around. People would take care of them. But there was a lot of drugs involved. You know, it wasn't the highest. There was a lot of energy vampirism, now that I look back. And I was right in the middle of things. It's like I grew up right in the middle of this reptilian energy vampirism that you talk about, you know, this archonic overlord system that I had to tackle it from the inside out as a child, and lived the life you were talking about. Climbed the ladder. I went to college. I got jobs. I, you know, met my husband. We ran for God's sakes, we ran an oil field consulting firm. You know, I had to, in other words, what I'm
Oh
trying
my
to say,
God.
I know, what I'm trying to say is sometimes you have to, well, what we agreed to do was to feel the denseness as much as possible in order to wake us up, to realize that there's something majorly wrong with that. And I saw it my whole life. My father was an alcoholic, very verbally abusive and emotionally abusive, and I had to go through depression my whole life to figure out, hey, something's really fucked up in this life. And that's when I had my grand awakening. So, you know, that's how we planned it. We had to, and besides that, just imagine all of the situations that I helped transmute with my energy in all those dark situations that I was in. And I wanted to talk about music because you know, it's been a part of my life, my whole life. My grandfather was a promoter and had, back, you know, in the 1970s, had bands come play at the Tarrant County Convention Center in Fort Worth, and he owned a hotel and would invite them to stay. So in my life, I set up the fact that my grandfather was a promoter and my dad would be deeply, deeply interested and seated in music. And so I had the lifetime set up for me because music, I totally agree. Actually, Greg Prescott had a show with a lady named Sherry Edwards, who has the ability in her ear to hear sounds that other people can't hear. And I definitely agree that sound frequencies are the key to healing everything that's wrong with our bodies right now, and can be used in healing. And I have been fascinated by the fact that my boyfriend Greg Prescott was a metal guitarist, and I think, and I was when Greg and I met, the main thing we had in common that we just knew we were instantly going to get along was we really liked Van Halen. And as I look back, I mean, Van Halen, I was obsessed with in high school, and they took me away to a place when my dad, was abusive, and, I came from a broken family, and my dad raised me and my sister. That's where I went. I went to Van Halen, and they took you away. They have the black magic. They take you away from this. I don't know where they take you, but it's it's not here. And I escaped with music. And I could feel the vibrations, and I know now exactly what you said about the tones. I find it very interesting. I've studied Whitesnake now and all these different bands, and wonder, I just wonder, did they have to actually experience that vibration themselves to know that something's, it takes you so deep and so dark that maybe that's what's going to turn them around. I noticed that, for instance, David Lee Roth went from making, he has a couple of pictures where he's got Illuminati symbols. He's got this one where he's got a jacket with the picture of the Pope on it. I mean, he's basically trying to tell people, yes, I'm Illuminati run, but on the other hand, he started doing martial arts later in life to connect with, the energies and flow through the energies through his body and stuff. And I think on some level, he totally gets it. So it's very fascinating to watch how the music industry can use the disharmonious tones to keep people asleep. And so I was wondering if you think that maybe you were taken to ground zero. To wrap this whole conversation up, they call me Gabby because I just can't say it in 2 words. But if you were taken to ground zero so that you could balance, remove yourself from everything, ground your cosmic energy into your body, bring your higher self in, and then turn around and start making some music that's going to heal.
That would be a yes with a capital Y-E-S. Yeah. Yeah, I experienced that lower vibration, for past 27 years, and then playing with Nuclear Assault and other bands. I had to really stop at some points, when I was out of my mind, and say, is this really the path that I want to go? Is this helping people, or is this contributing to the Illuminati's music industry? And, you mentioned David Lee Roth, which is short for Rothschild.
Yeah.
There's been this whole conspiracy that these people are evil and bad, and everybody from the Jewish bloodline is horrible and bad, and that is completely wrong. Because if we look back, we also had a part in setting up the system here so that we could function. So when we demonize, a certain group, or and we've seen it in all the documentaries, we have to stop and think, well, wait a minute. Like you said, I agreed to this. I agreed to go into the lower dimension so that I can raise it up so we can have a higher dimensional life in the future. I really think that's what it's all about. And if I have to put aside the old 80s music I enjoy so much, if I have to let that go, I'm willing to do it to raise the vibration of the planet, because this needs to be done. And
what I found, I'm just going to interject real quick, because what I found is once you raise your consciousness, it's almost like all of that music has another layer to it. It's multi-dimensional. and you can actually still listen to it, and it raises your vibration. It's
Yeah.
like, and the same thing, I'm gonna say the same thing happens with alcohol in a way, as long as you know how to take it.
Right.
And like when I woke up, I was like, damn, I gotta quit drinking. I drank a whole lot because I was like wanting to kill
Yes.
myself, you know.
Yes.
And I never did. I haven't done drugs in a long time. I mean, every now and then, take a hit of pot if somebody's smoking pot around me or whatever. That's no big deal. But I don't smoke pot. I don't do any drugs. And alcohol has always been my escape from this planet. And I thought, I gotta stop drinking. Well, once, and I did for a while, and every now and then I'd fall off the wagon and drink. Like, man, talk about take you into a weird trip. Jack Daniels will do it.
I hear you.
Not a good one either. But so I had to cut Jack Daniels out of my life. It just is not good. But like, okay, so once you're doing something that you love, you're back on your path. Man, there's nothing like a good freaking 80s song to get you in a good mood. Have a couple of beers and you're flying high. And it's a good high. It's not a bad high. And I can't drink more than a couple beers anymore, or a couple glasses of wine. But yeah, so there's a different. Don't you see?
Yeah.
Can't you feel? I mean, you can feel it if you're listening to that 80s song and it makes you feel good. Then you know you're tuning into the higher multidimensional aspect of that music.
Yeah, I think you just said it all. Yeah, I, I mean, the amount of alcohol consumed when you're in a band was unbelievable to me, and I'm at the point now. If I, decide to go have some hot wings or something, even though I'm vegan, I'm gonna probably want a couple Coronas with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, okay, wait a minute. I know my tolerance level, and my tolerance level is deadly. So, do I really want to? Do I want to gamble my cards every time I go out somewhere, and end up in a motel? That was like a broken record in my life. It kept happening over and over, and I had to really ask lately too. Should I get a 12-pack of O'Doul's? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Larry knows what you're saying.
That's what I've done, actually.
I definitely know hey, Ray, I definitely know what you're saying, because it seems like most of us starseeds, we really get a high tolerance to anything that we like, and it's like the only thing we can handle is more and more and more, and our tolerance just goes up and up and up. And I know some of us, I won't mention any names, have been at points in their life where they can handle multiple substances at once, and a lot of them, you know what I mean? And I'm sure in the band life it gets like that
all
too.
three of us have done that, Larry.
Exactly. And I wanted,
I think we've been there.
Yeah.
gone through and all that. The Rolling Stones, to me, are the typical old school band that have went through that kind of struggle, I think, with the Illuminati in and out for decades. So it really plagues everything that we do. And we just got to get in tune with music. Actually, Michelle took one of my points. She was talking about, once you get past that point, you can listen to whatever song it is that you want to, as long as at the moment it's vibrating with you and you understand what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? And so that's why I really like, and I want to give a shout out to Leah Alien Tribe, Leah Shapiro. Her music is really like, it sounds like it's from the 22nd century, and it's got a high vibration to it. Now, some people might not like that kind of music, but there's good tones to find, I think, in any kind of music, whether it's heavy metal. For me growing up, and Michelle's going to go, it was disco, because I was such a depressed young child, and disco and the happy beats for disco really got me out of that funk. So I think it's just whatever kind of music you resonate with, and if the tones are there to help you along, hey, then go with it. Just know what you're dealing with.
I think a lot of our musicians that have made it big are definitely Pleiadian, and that's a big thing in the Pleiades is music. And I was told that I had a past life or a future life, whatever you want to call it, as one who, after my planet was blown up, I had my own Merkaba spaceship floating in the floating in the universe here to try to find a planet, and I was vibrationally drawn to the Pleiades. And when they took me in there, I created a kind of shoe that was it's like a tap dance shoe, but it had sensors on it, and when you danced, it made music. So although I'm not a musician in this lifetime, I chose to be, to use my voice to channel the cosmos. But I also, I had to have music background because it's deep rooted in my soul, and maybe in the future I'll have some kind of remembrance on that and create some shoes that will make music, since I can't play anything. I tried to play the flute when I was in high school, and that didn't work out too well. But so yeah, I just want to wrap up the show a little bit by asking about this 7 years in the future date. Greg Prescott has talked about the date 2023, and that something major was going to happen on the planet at that time. And he's not one who honestly likes to use dates at all. But he's had two different sources tell him, and he wrote an article on it on N5D. Two different sources told him within, I think, the same day. Once one was at in person at the dog park, and another is a guy that his friend of his that he's been working with for a while. That we don't have a lot of time. That humanity has a window, and by 2023, if it hasn't happened, then a major shift's going to happen. You can choose what you want to happen. He's not real forthcoming with a lot of information, but that seems to be close to this 7-year timeline. That would put us, I believe, at like 2022 now that we're in 2015. So do you have any more information on that date? Is that like an astrological alignment point that will take us out of an opportunistic gate, or what?
I think with a lot of us, it's almost an intuitive feeling. Like, you have your internal time clock, and then you see what's going on in the world right now. And that can change too. The time is almost irrelevant. But on a linear scale, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What I'd like, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, what I'd like to do right now is just to take this opportunity to do a little healing with you, and bring through some intonations in my voice that are going to take away the energy that you've been carrying with you, all of the secrets and the knowledge that you've had, and the fact that you haven't been able to tell many people about this. Probably not even, I know you said you have seen some ships with your sister, and of course you have that backup system of your home-based family. But to know that you have other family here on the planet, and that Facebook has been a really good tool. Larry and I can attest to that, to create community for those of us who are spread all across the planet in different places, and seemingly we feel alone, but that our space brothers and sisters, our real family, are actually in contact with us all the time. And like in your instance, they do take you up on the ship every 3 to 4 years. They do an attunement on you, and you have to spend time with them, because otherwise you wouldn't want to stay here. And this is just a reminder that we're all here because we agreed to do it. This is one of the hardest assignments we could take on. What we do here on this planet will change the whole universe. And so I bring this healing energy to you, and look in your aura field and notice that you have some spots that you've carried with you from all of some scars that you've carried with you from all of the low vibrational states that you were in. some scars in your aura, and so they're working on that, and they're going to cleanse your aura field. And if you just concentrate on within your heart center, bringing in more of your higher self, affirming out loud and intending that you are ready to accept more of their energies, and everyone that you come in contact with and everyone that you use your voice to connect with, you will be sending them the highest of healing energies, and this will make a huge difference on the planet and will collectively and exponentially connect with the human consciousness fields of everyone connected on the planet, and will help raise the vibration of the collective consciousness. Okay, so wonderful. That was awesome.
Wow. Here, here. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you.
Well, did you have anything else that you'd like to say in wrapping up? I mean, we could talk for hours, but I just wanted to bring an introduction to your message that you have for humanity, and it was a beautiful one. We do have limited time as far as this illusion. If we didn't do it in this lifetime, we could probably time travel back again and try it all over again. But I think that opportunity is going to be closed for us to do that. We've done it so many times that this is it. I feel like we've done it. I know that because that's the message. They're coming back. We're coming back from that harmonious place and saying that it has happened. All you have to do is be yourself, ground the love, spread the love, and quit trying to think too much about this, that, or the other with your mind, and live in your heart, and just be the experience, and it will unfold.
Exactly, and I'd like to say, Ray, thank you for coming on the show. It's important that people get their message out there and have an opportunity, and I'm thankful for mediums like this where we can do that. And as much as I've downed Facebook in the past, you got to love Facebook because it really brought us all together. So, here for Facebook, I really agree, and it's just been a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm so glad that you came on and shared this with us. Thank you, and I really feel your love vibrations, and I just think I agree with Michelle, too. This is really our last dance, last chance to get it right. That opportunity is closed for us to come back and do it again. And I think some of us souls, I know myself included, are so tired that I don't know if I could I don't know if I got another run in me. So let's hope we get it right this time. And if more people just stay centered in their heart center and love and stay grounded, use your heart brain to make decisions, have no judgment, but always have your BS detector on high in every now and moment. And the person should be good to go. And I think that's about all I got to say. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Facebook groups, the Pleiadians, of course, in5d.com, bodymindsoulspirit.com, to the great Greg Prescott, founder, webmaster, and maestro of all those, and fringe thinkers, and everybody else that I forgot to mention, too many to name, but everybody out there that we come in contact with, I'd like to say much love, and I'll kick it over to you, Michelle, to wrap it up.
Well, I just wanted to give Ray the opportunity to say any final words that he may want to share.
Yeah, I thank you guys so much for letting me be on here, and everything resonates really well. I felt like something like this was coming for the last few weeks or so. It's just glad to be able to come out and say these things. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks. I mean, we literally did this on the fly, like within an hour of meeting. So keep in touch, and with that, I'll turn it over to Larry. And thank you so much for allowing us to do this on your show at such a short notice, Larry.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you. What a great opportunity. As you know, we have no clock or time schedule in the PEP, Pleiadian Express Productions. So I would just like to say thank you. And Ray, did you have anything else that you wanted to say before I wrap it up?
Just with everything we talked about, it really, I'm in agreement with it. And especially with musicians these days, I mean, I think a lot of us have really struggled because the industry changed rapidly in the last 5 years. And those of us who are
Corporate.
Pleiadian souls, we really, I think we've reached a crossroads. What direction we're going to take, and I'm still on that crossroad. And you know, I think there's just a lot of maybe introspective contemplation that's about to happen with a lot of us.
I do believe as a master manifester that when you make that, again, when you reestablish that connection with your higher self, which in this case, you don't have to name it, but in this case, I'm feeling like it is that presence from the future. But just imagine that connection with your higher self and allow that energy to come down through your crown chakra, through your third eye, through your throat chakra, and into your heart. And at the same time, your solar plexus and your root chakra and your sexual chakra are all grounded into the planet. And when you become more of that energy, more of that being here planted in the now, then things will unfold for you and ideas will come to you and people will come into your life that will support you and help you figure out how you're going to incorporate music into a way to make a living at this point, but not only that, but to do what will make you happy, because it really doesn't matter what you do as long as it's heart-based and as long as it makes you happy. So when you find what that is, which you have, and accept it and ask the universe for help, then you'd be surprised. Don't put any expectations on how it will unfold, but that is literally the law of attraction, and the secret is the one thing that people miss is the connection in the heart and their manifestation techniques. They use their brain all they want in putting out sticky notes everywhere that says, this is what I want to attract to me, but it's actually going within in your heart. That doesn't mean that you have to sit in meditation like a guru with your legs crossed and oming for hours and hours. All it means is to make the connection with your higher self while you're connected with the earth, and nature can help you do that, and just put it out there and watch what happens. I can't wait to see the next big spiritual metaphysical star out there spreading your light with everybody and your healing.
Yeah, I would agree, and we need support. I mean, I need to tell people. I mean, I've struggled with some really low vibrations recently, and because I see what has happened to the music, I hate to say music business, but that's what it is. And I almost feel led in probably the direction of Leah's music, that I really connect with that, which is a drastic step from metal. And I've actually done a few videos with me on the keyboard, and it's titled "What Else But Vrill," and it's all free. I'm not selling anything. It really I think that's a direction I want to go in. And
That
still
sounds
maintaining the
great.
metal. The metal base will still be there, but more multi-frequent.
Harmonic.
Yes.
Yes, and if you're dealing with the same problems that all of us starseeds are dealing with, and that is the fact that if we could just abolish the money system, and have different ways of self-sustaining and supporting ourselves, we could, Greg always asks people, if there were no such thing as money, what would you do? And you already know what you would do right now. Right now, in this very now moment, we're trying, we're struggling with feeding ourselves and being able to eat organic and not have stress in our lives because of money. But as we as we deal with this, it actually builds a bridge for all of humanity to be able to remove their energy attachment and to money as well. So it's one of the toughest things on the planet to do, is whether it's religion or the banking system. Those are the top two systems of control, and we're breaking them down just by doing the struggle ourselves, because we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So thank you so much for your dedication, and know that all your struggles are not for nothing. And with that, we'll wrap up this edition of Pleiadian Express Productions with myself, Michelle Walling, and Larry Locken, and our very special guest today, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, Cosmic Sports fans, from the great Michelle Walling. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and that's a wrap.